The stock market is buzzing with anticipation as Dow futures rally, signaling a potential breakthrough in the U.S.-China trade war. But here's where it gets controversial. A trade truce on the horizon? Tensions between the world's two largest economies have cooled, setting the stage for a historic trade deal. President Trump and President Xi Jinping are expected to meet this week, and the outcome could shape global markets. Stock futures are soaring, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average futures up by a significant 238 points, or 0.5%. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 futures are also climbing, led by chip stocks like NVIDIA. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, speaking from the ASEAN Summit, expressed confidence in a successful framework for the leaders' discussion on Thursday. The potential agreement includes a delay in China's rare earths restrictions, a spike in Trump's threatened tariffs, and a resumption of Chinese soybean purchases. And this is the part most people miss. The agreement may also resolve the TikTok dispute, with the U.S. potentially getting a deal for its version of the popular social video app. President Trump, speaking from Air Force One, emphasized his respect for President Xi and his belief in reaching a deal. Chip makers, the sector most vulnerable to China tensions, led the rally on Monday. Stocks like NVIDIA, Broadcom, and AMD gained around 2%, while Tesla and Apple added approximately 1% each. He highlights the potential for China to fully delay its rare earth export controls for a year, a better outcome than the alternative of granting licenses. Stocks are already riding high, with all three major indices hitting record highs last Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed above 47,000 for the first time, and the S&P 500 touched 6,800, an all-time high. Investors are also anticipating a rate cut from the Federal Reserve on Wednesday, following slightly cooler than expected inflation data. Additionally, earnings reports from big tech companies, including Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft, are on the horizon. While investors are optimistic about improving China-U.S. relations, a setback with Canada has tempered their enthusiasm. Trump imposed an additional 10% tariff on Canada imports for not withdrawing a TV ad featuring former President Reagan criticizing tariffs. Global markets are rallying on hopes of a U.S.-China trade deal, with the Pan-European Stoxx 600 up by 0.3% on Monday. Asian markets also gained, with Japan's Nikkei 225 breaching the 50,000 mark for the first time and South Korea's Kospi rising over 2%. However, rare earth stocks fell on Monday after Secretary Bessent's comments about China delaying export controls. Shares of companies like Critical Metals, USA Rare Earth, and MP Materials declined. In other news, Swiss pharmaceutical giant Novartis has agreed to acquire biotechnology company as the markets await the outcome of the Trump-Xi meeting. Investors are keeping a close eye on any developments. Will the trade truce hold, or will there be further twists and turns? The world is watching with bated breath. What's your take on this potential trade deal? Do you think it will bring stability to global markets, or are there hidden complexities that could impact its success? Share your thoughts in the comments below.